Hey dudes and chicks and neither if those rules don't apply to you, welcome to Fake for Last Time. My name is Katie. Today, I'm going to be doing a Day of the Dead look. Well, in commemoration of the Day of the Dead. I'll explain why when I get into my video, but I'll be using the Muerte palette, obvi. Like, anybody who knows anything knows that this is the Muerte palette. Did I actually need to tell you? So, if you guys are interested in seeing how I got this look, or hearing what I said during my video, or if you just like to watch, then hang out. Okay, so I'm using the ABH primer. As you guys know, I've had difficulty with the Muerte palette in the past, and so I have come to the conclusion that the ABH primer is the only one that works for me to make sure that my look doesn't turn into sludge by the end of the day. I'm not sure what it is about me and if it's my technique or my primer or what the deal is, but I seem to have a little better luck with the ABH primer. And also, I already have my blush on, and I used the R3 blush palette by Menagerie in the shade Dog Rose. It seemed like a no-brainer for the look that I kind of have in mind, so there's no way that by the end of this look that wasn't going to be the blush that I was going to choose. As you guys also know, every time I put my blush on before I do my eyeshadow look, it never really matches the way that I want it to, but I am pretty certain about how this look is going to turn out. Also, I'm pretty sure that's the darkest blush that I have, and so I put this on pretty thick. Maybe, I don't know if that was a mistake, or I always get leery about this palette, even though it's literally one of my favorite palettes. It doesn't perform like most of my favorite palettes, so sorry, said it. It's still one of my favorite palettes, and it's still, I would probably replace it if I didn't own it, if it was available to me to do that. So just so you guys know, like, I've really gone out of my way to make this palette perform for me and cooperate for me. And one of the things that I believe about being a consumer is that a lot of times when you create content on YouTube, you get palettes, and when they don't work, you just say like, oh, this doesn't work. But like when you're an actual consumer, you're like, bitch, I'm gonna make it work because I spent money on it. And this palette was actually relatively spendy. So I think a palette over 50 bucks is pricey for me. Like, that's kind of my opinion. And my opinion on that doesn't change whether I have money or not. I'm kind of the type of person that if I don't have the money, I just won't buy palettes. I won't buy less expensive palettes to match my budget. I only want what I want. And at this point, it's getting, I'm just like, I don't really know how long it's going to take for this to set up because I put it on so thick, but I think we're pretty good. I'll just give it a second. So I don't really care what a palette costs if I want it and I can get it. Or like at this point, it's like my tastes are more specialized than they used to be. And so like if I really want something and it's expensive, either I'll get it or I don't. You know, I'm going to start with the color Valorio. I'm not sure if I've ever actually started with this color before. I had to have. I've used this palette quite a bit. You want to know what else? I just noticed that I'm always using my right hand to start, and I'm not even right-handed. I think I've tapped into some part of my creativity because I actually feel more comfortable doing my makeup on my right-hand side, and I realize that that's not the side that you can see. And I'm just going to try my hardest to keep it above that line, like as we just learned recently, if you keep it above that line. As I was talking about in my last video, I rarely feel like doing things in time, like in sync with the time frame. And this morning I woke up and was like, oh, I want to do a Halloween look. And the reason why isn't just because I'm a disagreeable bitch, which God knows I can be. But I did my daughter's Halloween makeup last night, and I'll leave a picture right here. It turned out so good. Her and her two besties were Lock, Shock, and Barrel from Nightmare Before Christmas, and they looked so cute, and I did such a good job on her makeup. I was like super proud of it. Honestly, like I never do a bad job on her makeup or whatever for Halloween, but this one was like particularly difficult. It was a lot of like graphic lines. She was Lock. She had all the little white teeth right here and the black on the lips and the face right here, and it was like a lot of like graphic liner that I was basically like sitting on her lap in this chair, make a part of the line, take 4 good breaths, make a part of the line, take 4 good breaths. So it was actually pretty difficult, but then I woke up this morning like totally in the mood to do Halloween makeup. So I was like, well, fuck, it's the Day of the Dead, so let's just do it. As we've talked about before, this color is extremely, it's not what it appears to be. It looks like it's going to be a nice Merlot, but it's actually like almost a purpley brown, so that's perfect. It's a surprise. The tones in this palette are so, I mean, they're just so on theme that it's like, it's hard not to love this palette. So I'm using all small brushes if I actually have any left because I need to. I'm gonna use this Nabla N205 and I'm gonna go into the color Sangre. God, I had to have used this, come on. As you guys all know, I'm wearing my 5 Finger Death Punch shirt that's like Day of the Dead chick on it. Maybe you don't know. And I'm just going 50% on and 50% off. This is gonna look really good. I want this to be a little more rounded. Just because I don't want to necessarily create a skull eye, but I would like it to look a little rounded so that it kind of looks like scully eyes, if you know what I mean. And even this is like a dingy Merlot color, like it's dingy. And I'm not going below with this color because, I mean, maybe I did, but that was not my desire. I'm just tapping this on. I want to go really in with this darker color to kind of give that dead effect. But I don't want to go too far in with the deepest color because I want to keep that outer really dark. So I don't want to pull the dark in and then lose that effect. So right here, I'm going to go a little higher to get that roundedness, because this is my problem eye. You got to be careful with melt shadows about the harsh line because once it's stuck, it's like really stuck. And now I'm going to go in with the Voldemort M562. It's this little tiny, I think it's probably like those Sigma brushes, and I'm going to go into Corazon. Corazon. What is that on? I'm just being super ginger with this color just because I want to be really careful about what happens up top here. For those of you who are unfamiliar with melt shadows, they are, I feel like they're like next level. Like you have to have a little bit of a good technique. Like, in my humble opinion, melt is not good for beginners. Like if you're just learning how to blend or just learning how to put on shadow, I just don't think melt is for beginners. I mean, not necessarily for beginners. I just think that melt takes a little more finesse and a little more technique. And so if you are a beginner and you love melt as a brand, which I don't know, I think those days are over maybe. I mean, their new release was kick-ass, to have no doubt about it. Like their new release was not disappointing at all. But I think like Melt's days of like being a highly sought after brand are like, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. It seems like the people who still really love Melt are the people who have always loved Melt and are just like loyal to them. Oh, you know what I wanted to tell you guys is, will you please let me know if like the music is a little bit, like if the music is too loud in my edits, or like anything that you guys notice with the edits. I started using a new editing program and I'm really excited about it. I love it so much. But like my sound levels are like they're not the same. And so if you guys are like in my parts where I'm like high speed blending and it's like the music like blasts you out, you guys should let me know if I need to turn it down just a little tiny bit. I know my metalheads are gonna be like, no, turn it up, but like all of you guys ain't metalheads. And also I know that like a long time ago, I asked if people would be offended if with the metal. And so like people who watch my videos and don't like metal, they were like, as long as it's not too distracting. So honestly, I don't really like it when I'm watching a video and all of a sudden it blares you out. Like, I don't give a fuck what the music is. So like, I just want to make sure that my editing is nice. I'm actually already really excited about this look, but I've been really like red crazy lately. I've been really like leaning towards colors that are just kind of new to me. That looks really good. Like the blend doesn't look good, but the other pieces do. I'm going to use some smaller brushes. I'm going to use the UC85 is what it is. And I'm going to go into the color Noche Eterna, and I'm going to go right here with it. And then remember when my edits used to be way funnier and I used to like put little funny ass movie clips in? Remember when I used to do that? I'll tell you why I stopped. I got scared that I was going to get a copyright strike. Like, they usually just give you copyright claims or whatever where people just, you can't like monetize your content, which I don't really care about that, but I don't want to actually get like 3 copyright strikes and get my shit taken. So fuck that. And then I'm going to go into Duelo. I'm doing something definitely a little different here. I don't know. I just want to fuck around with this palette like in a more way than I ever have before. I'm really just doing my makeup, so that's all. For the Day of the Dead. Because I missed it. Because I missed Halloween time. My kid looked so cute last night. God, it was adorable. I don't mind taking this a little bit high just because I do want this look to be a little bit darker. I'm going back into Sangre. And the only reason why I know what Sangre means is because there's a song by Hallel called Sangre por Sangre, Sangre por Sangre, Blood for Blood. For those of you who don't know who Hallel is, they're the like band that Vinnie Paul and Chad Gray from Mudvayne. Vinnie Paul was the drummer for Pantera, and he started a band with Chad Gray, who was the singer of Mudvayne, and they created a band called Hallel. And everybody always said that they were a truly underrated fucking band, which I don't know if you guys remember me recently talking about how I don't really like that reference, just because it sounds like it has a kind of a demeaning like connotation. I know that what people mean is that like they should be more popular, but what's true about like, you know, most people don't like I feel like most people don't really like the things that I like. And so I just feel like that you can just chalk that up to, they're not underrated. People are just people. They don't really, most people don't like the stuff that I think is like the best stuff of all time. So like that's just kind of a thing for me. I don't know if you guys saw the video I did a long time ago where I talked about how when I was really young, I read in People magazine that they rated Fight Club the worst fucking Brad Pitt movie of all time. And I knew that in that moment, I knew that like people are just, I don't think like other people, because I think that Fight Club is the best Brad Pitt movie of all time. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see this, but I'm starting to get like, I feel like some trouble blending here. So I don't know if that's going to stay that way, but if it does, then I'm just going to have to be okay with it. But this is probably going to end up being a longer video just because me trying to get this blend perfect, because I don't do imperfect blend. That might not be true. I just have to like ease up my touch. If you're ever having problems blending, you always need to lighten up your touch. It seems like the opposite, and like especially when you're like getting frustrated, but like you always lighten up your touch. That is the way to get the best blend. And I'm pulling that red up into that lightest color. Now I'm just going to use, well, I don't know exactly, but I'm just going to kind of start with no additional product, just finessing this out so that my blend can get a little better. Because this looks actually really good. The shadow is exactly how I want it. Shadow meaning the depth. So I'm just going in with all my brushes and blending. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little nervous that I'm gonna do all this blending and like really put a lot of time into blending this and making sure that my blend is perfect. And then it's gonna like fall down throughout the day. Here, I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna go in with the Big Daddy and I'm just gonna kind of this is kind of what I'm talking about with melt. It kind of just takes a little bit more. That's not what I see other people saying, but I don't really know what other people's makeup looks like close up because I don't see it. I know for me, like I have to have my shit perfection. And I'm just making sure that this is really, really dark on the outer V right here. And then I'm gonna go in and I'm just gonna kind of go in with the blue right here. Yeah, that looks nice. And then I'm just gonna kind of go like this with the Duelo. On the lower lash line, I'm going in with Duelo. And the reason why is because I'm wearing my 5-finger dust punch shirt and I'll show you guys what it looks like for those of you who are unfamiliar. That's what the shirt looks like. I feel like though this palette is literally a classic. It's like a cult classic. Like everybody wants it. Everybody wanted it for so long. I'm sure that most of you who didn't get it figured out a way to dupe it because it was like that coveted, like everybody wanted it. And most people, they wanted it, but they didn't really want it until it was gone. And so when it came back, I'm sure a lot of you got it because I made a pretty big deal of it on my channel to make sure that you guys got it because so many of you wanted it. But I'm certain that most of you figured out how to dupe it because you had to. And so once you figure out how to dupe it, it's like, the only people that really like want to buy it at that point are like people that are just like collectors, like those of us who are collectors. Okay, I'm going to use, I better keep it safe here. I'm going to use my Morphe M506 and I'm going to go into Lagrima. This is cute. And then maybe I'm going to use this Sigma E27 and I'm going to go into Pantheon and I'm going to use that to go from this line and up. Because maybe then, yeah, that looks cute. Okay, now I'm gonna go, I should go and do like, you know, more better, but I'm not going to. I'm just gonna kind of pull this up and pull it down, the darkest part. I'm gonna use this P. Louise cut crease brush with my NYX glitter primer. And I'm going to go like this. And I'm just going to kind of clean this up a little bit with my brush. And I'm going to use my Zoeva 234 and I'm going to go into Angelito. And I'm going to pull that in just a little tiny bit more because I really want this to be the bulk of it. But I'm going to use another brush because I don't want to make a big fat mess. What brush? My Morphe JH fucking something. I don't know. And I'm going to use Katrina just a little tiny bit and pull that back over here. And I'm using two different brushes because I don't want to get any of that dark blue on the tip of my brush and put that on my, there we go, man. Ooh, that looks really good. And then I'm going back into Katrina and I'm going to put this Yeah, that looks amazing. And then I'm just gonna use a little tiny bit of NYX glitter primer on my Refer 3, and I'm gonna put that right here and right here. And then I'm gonna go into Angelito. Oh shit, I just got NYX glitter primer on that. And I'm just gonna take this and make this line like really. And okay, that's the look. I'm gonna go finish the rest of my face and I'll be back when I'm done. So this is the manifesto, the pièce de résistance. I used some lashes, I don't know what they are. Then I used my Unearthly Cosmetics Lippy in Gloria, my Unearthly Cosmetics Low Light Highlighter in Mirage, and you can use my code LOSSED to save 10% on that. And then I used my Urban Decay Gel Liner. And I guess I love the way this turned out, but I did, and this is like a trick that you might want to use. Obviously, most of you do this anyways, but if you are using beauty lights and you're not getting the blend you want, or you're using like really good lighting to do your blending and you're not getting the blending you want, go into the bathroom and use the shitty lighting in your bathroom to like see what your look is actually going to look like in real life, because a lot of times the shadow that's in your bathroom isn't in here. So like I can't get the right blend because the lighting. I just use different lighting to get a better blend. And I also wanted to say that, you know, I think that one of the places where brands go wrong, and I'll just say brands in general, is they try to cater to a bigger audience. And one of the things that is really important when you're creating an audience is to create something that's polarizing to some people so that you can create like a cult following with your own brand. And so I think that one of the places where brands actually make a huge mistake in creating content or products is they try to reach a wider audience, and it kind of betrays their cult following who are so loyal to them. So like you build a cult following of buyers who will buy anything from you, but then you like start launching things that are really not that on brand to try to pander a wider audience, and it turns off all the people who literally are like so loyal to you that they would buy anything from you. And I can actually think of a couple brands right now immediately who I feel like have done this in a way that has really turned off their cult following. And really the reason why they even have a brand is because of their cult following. Their cult following posts their looks. Their cult following buys everything from them. Their cult following talks about their products on their content in a way that is like they're gonna buy that shit no matter what. And then when you start creating products that don't really cater to that audience anymore, then nobody wants to talk about your brand anymore. And I can actually think of a couple brands that I haven't posted anything new on any of their launches in a really long time. Like I said, the last Melt launch and the Nightmare Before Christmas launch did draw my attention. It did feel exciting, but like it wasn't exciting like the Beetlejuice launch. Like I was like on their dick. Like I used to be on Melt's dick, right? And then like it's been so long since they've launched anything that like they're kind of off the radar for me, but I did really love their last launch. So they did not disappoint with that last launch and their current launch. So anyway, blah, blah, blah. My opinion doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter, but that's just kind of my humble opinion about where brands kind of go wrong. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell because you can't wait to see what happens next. Hit the like button if you like this look, or if you just like my sparkling personality and my boyish charm, and hang out with me in the comments because I fucking love it. If you got like halfway through this video and you're like, oh my god, she's so fucking pretty until she opens her big fucking mouth, then go check me out on Instagram. I don't talk as much on Instagram. And if you're like, don't sugarcoat it, Katie, why don't you tell us how you really feel, then go check out my Patreon because I don't hold anything back on my Patreon. Thank you guys so much for watching. You could have been anywhere, but you were here wasting your time with me, and I totally appreciate you. Later. Slayer!